If you have a new LLC business and you are looking for a business credit card using EIN only with no income, this is the conversation for you. So I want you to stick around till the end.
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower with a stinging killer beat, but the rhythms getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sudi Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee, or tea, or vodka, and let's roll. In today's discussion, I want to talk to you about new LLC business credit card using EIN only with no income. How do you get it? How do you get a high limit business credit card? Okay, here are the steps. In everything we do, we are talking about methodology. You got to have an approach, right? So here are the steps. Number one, budgeting. Budgeting is really important. You want to establish a budget so the credit card issuer knows more about your operational forecast. This is important. Listen, boss, if you are trying to have an EIN only business credit card with no income and you give no transparency about your business to the credit card issuer, they're not going to approve your ass. Not at all. Okay, you gotta give them visibility into your business operation. They need to understand what's going on, how you generate revenue, what are your top processes. What I'm trying to say here is that you want to talk about your business a lot more. If you do not open up your books, nobody's gonna grant you the EIN only business credit cards you need. Okay, so I'm talking about budgeting in the sense that you have a master budget, and you can have a secondary budget or a tertiary budget. And let me just break it down for you. A master budget is basically a compilation of all the expenses and revenues you actually forecast for 3 months, for 6 months, for 12 months, and whatnot. It depends on your industry. It depends on your LLC. It depends on in the state where you operate from. Okay, and then so from the primary budget, aka master budget, you have secondary budget. So this is actually a budget for operations, a budget for inventory, a budget for office supplies, a budget for staff. You know, if you plan on, let's say you want to expand at some point in the future, you want to hire more staff, all that kind of stuff. And some people also establish something called a cash budget. Okay, so a cash flow budget gives you an estimate of the money that comes in or goes out. We're talking about what? Cash in, cash out. Cash in, cash out. Okay, cash inflows and cash outflows. Okay, and the goal of this budget, all these budgets, is to give the credit card issuer, the bank or the credit union, a greater idea of what your business is about. This is important, okay? And when we talk about a budget, here are the main components of a budget. So you got to have an estimated revenue, you got to have fixed cost, variable cost, one-time expenses, cash flow, profits, and so on and so forth. Listen, boss, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I want you to outsource the whole thing. You want to hire a local CPA or local accountant to take care of that for you. You can use also accounting software to do it yourself, or you can actually outsource the task to someone on Fiverr, on Upwork, on TopTal, on freelancer.com. It is totally possible. It doesn't cost much. $50 max. Okay, you are talking about a budget. You need to have a budget for your new LLC business if your goal is to get an EIN only business credit card with no income. The next thing I want you to take care of is something called a spending model. Okay, well, you basically telling the credit card issuer, hey, listen, I need a $10,000 limit because here is what I'm going to spend the money on. Yeah, if you don't get the bank or credit union an idea of how much you need in credit limit, they will be giving you a teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini limit. They'll give you a tiny ass limit. They will give you $500 or $1,000. You know why? Because those banks and credit unions, they are risk averse. They are looking at your new LLC business, and all they see is trouble. All they see is risk. All they see is a business in its infancy. And you know that when a business in its infancy is prone to bankruptcy, right? So you want to solidify your business application, your credit card application. You want to have a spending model. Okay. When we talk about a spending model is kind of cool because you tell the credit card issuer how much you intend to spend, what you want to spend the money on. It ensures accountability, right? This is very important. You can decide who receives a card within your team. If you are a single member LLC, okay, you're by yourself, you're a solopreneur, that's fine. But if you are a multi-member LLC, you have a lot of folks who actually work on the same company, then you need to ensure accountability. Okay, you need to set credit card limits. Okay, you need to actually be watchful of card activity. What I'm trying to say here is you need to tell the credit card issuer that you have thought things through, that you are ready to hit the ground running. You are ready to start operating. You are ready to start using the card and certainly repay them back. Pay whatever balance you charge on the card at the end of the month or at the end of, or right away or whatever. Okay, so use the card wisely. You want to use the card wisely. You want to give them the opportunity to understand that, hey, listen, I have a business, I have a spending model in place. And when I get the card, I'm going to use the card wisely. And when we talk about spending model, there's also important because a spending model helps with accounting. It helps with budgeting. It helps with cash flow control and cash flow monitoring. So this is very important, okay? So if you are a new LLC business owner and you want to get a business credit card with EIN only, with no income, the first thing you need to do, very first thing, write it down right now. Hey, write it down. Budgeting. Number 2, you need to create something called a spending model. Again, those things are not complicated. The names might sound complicated to you, but listen, you're talking about one spreadsheet. And again, if you have no knack for preparing that kind of financial documentation, outsource the whole thing. We're talking about $20 here, $50 there. Not a lot of money. Number 3, projections. So the whole thing is, if you have no income, and I'm talking about no actual income, you need to forecast, right? This is important. Peter, I'm talking to you. What? Oh yeah, I'm talking to you. Projections are important. Okay, and projections, and I'm talking about projections in the sense that you need to have projected financial statements. You know, Peter, the last time you showed me your documents, they were full of errors and whatever, right? This is because you don't have realistic projections. Okay, so one thing we want to get into a position where we use realistic numbers, right? This is important. Don't you try, if you're a new LLC, why are you actually forecasting $10 million in revenue in the first year? That's BS, okay? And the thing is, you gotta really be realistic, but also make sure that your numbers are in sync with what the industry is actually posting at this particular moment. All right, let's talk about that. You know, so when I talk about projections, I'm talking about making sure that you have a projected income statement, a projected balance sheet, a projected cash flow statement, a projected statement of cash, a statement of owner's equity. Okay, so financial projections are a crucial aspect of the core small business plan, especially for newer businesses and newer LLC businesses. Okay, and there are a lot of benefits of financial projections. So you're able to prepare for expenses and revenue based on supply and demand in your market. You can establish goals, right? You can set up points of achievement to ensure your business is growing as predicted. You can compare the development of the market to your business. You can see whether you are growing faster or slower than the industry. What's up with that, right? So if you're lethargic, if your business plan if your balance sheet is currently lethargic, you need to do something about it, right? And that's what projections are for. And so if you want to have a successful projection plan, make sure that you create a budget that actually is in sync with the long-term objectives of your company. So we go back to budgeting, right? Go back to that. We go back to the spending model, right? You need to evaluate and update your budget regularly. Measure your projections against your goals. Very important. Use short-term versus long-term projections. Okay, you can go for 3 months. You can go for 6 months. You can go for 9 months. Listen, all of these things I'm talking to you about, when you clarify things for yourself, you are able to talk to the credit card issuer in a clear manner. You can explain things. You can dig deeper into the whole numbers, into all the projections, and make sure that in the end, hopefully, they will approve your business credit card, even with EIN and without income. Let me talk to you now about cash. Oh yeah, cash is really important. I mean, cash is just whatever it is, right? You got to make that ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Now, make sure your cash position is solid. Obviously, you're going to tell me there's a dichotomy here. There's a contradiction, right? You're a new LLC business. You have not generating a dime. Where am I going to get the cash from? Oh, well, boss, before you had this new LLC business, you were a man or a woman, right? You were generating revenue from somewhere. That money has to come from somewhere. So you got to make money. You got to take the money from your personal accounts. I mean, if you're a new LLC business, you have no time. I mean, you just new. You're a new kid on the block. You don't have time to actually to generate revenue. So you got to actually have initial startup capital. You got to have some initial equity into the business. Okay, it's important to demonstrate a solid cash position to the credit card issuer, because you're asking the credit card issuer to look at two things: to ignore your personal credit and to focus only on your EIN. That's number one. And you're asking the creditor, the credit card issuer, to also ignore the fact that you don't generate revenue. Okay, those are two important things. Those are two critical things you are asking the credit card issuer. So what are you actually offering in return? Talk to me about it, boss. This is business. This is super, super, super duper business. Okay, we're not playing here. It's not about like, I'm just gonna walk into a bank or credit union and I'm gonna get my EIN only business credit card. You think that's that easy? Come on, boss. This ain't that easy. It takes time and preparation. It takes time and preparation. If anybody tells you that you can get an EIN only business credit card just by filling out a credit card application, tell them I said they're full of BS. BS. All right? Bullshit. So the thing here is you want to be in a position where you can demonstrate to the credit card issuer that you have cash. You have cash. Okay? So you want to prepare a projected cash flow. And that projected cash flow has to have initial cash that comes from you. So you have to have seed capital into the business. The cash must come from you. 10 grand, 5 grand, whatever it is, okay? And you're able to identify, you're able to prepare projected cash flows from operations. You're able to determine forecasted cash received. You can forecast cash outflows. You can calculate the projected cash flows. Okay, you can do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you need to show credit card issuer that you are liquid. Very important. Number 5, we want to focus on a certain category of credit cards. Okay, obviously, if you are a new LLC and you're looking for a business credit card using EIN only with no income, you can't actually focus on the whole population of credit cards, because some banks and credit unions are really risk averse and they ain't talking to you. They just ain't talking to you. They want to wait for 3 years or 4 years just to see that you haven't filed for bankruptcy. And if you have survived those 4 or 5 years, those initial 3 or 4 years, then they want to talk to you at that point. The thing is, you need the credit card now, not in 3 years or 4 years, right? You need the credit card now. Hey. Here is how you do, how you play the game. You need to know the cards that approve new LLCs without income using EIN only. And when we talk about that, there are 3 types of cards. 3 types of credit cards. And I don't care what anybody tells you. We've done research about this for 20 years. 20 years, boss. 20 years. And I can tell you, there's a trifecta of credit card issuers that will talk to you. They will talk to you. I'm not saying they will approve you automatically, because it takes time. It takes due diligence. It takes preparation. But your personal bank or credit union might talk to you. The thing is that they must have known you for a long time. You must have a good relationship with them. The rapport that you would have built with them should be solid, should be strong. Okay, this is why it's important to always always buttress your relationship with a bank at the personal level. Don't you try to play games on a bank, trying to run overdrafts and whatnot, and NSFs, non-sufficient fund transactions all the time. No, you want to keep a clean history with them, because you might need them at the business level also. One day, don't burn your bridges. Boss, don't burn your bridges. I'm talking to you. Uncle, aunt, I'm talking to you. Nephew, niece, I'm talking to you. grandpa, grandma, I'm talking to you. If you are listening to me right now, I want you to make sure you never burn your bridges with the bank that you're with. Always trying to have a good relationship. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It's very easy. It's more conducive for business in the future. Let's talk about it, okay? So the first type of credit card issuer that will talk to you is your personal bank or credit union, and they will be willing to grant you a business credit card with EIN only, without income for your new LLC business, because they know you personally. You've been with them for 20 years. You've been with them for 15 years. They know your ass in and out. Well, that just came out wrong, but you know what I mean. They know you in and out. They know you. Okay. The second type of you can actually go for it, secured credit card, business credit card issuers, and in that category, Wells Fargo is a great player. They issue a secured business credit card, and the third category is EIN only credit cards with no PG. You have Ramp, you have Brex, you have DV. Okay. The only thing is, these cards want you to have a solid cash position if you don't have revenue. Very important to have a solid cash position. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Finest, youngest tequila, and call me señorita. Ay, papi, got me dreaming. My legs up on the ceiling. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know when he come, he ain't never gonna leave. No. Hit it the night run, and that's the way I wanna be. So don't think.
Welcome back, folks, to another section of today's conversation. And now I'm just talking to you about the new LLC business credit card with EIN only and no income. How do you get it? And I want to talk to you now about the requirements. You got to know the requirements of the business credit card that you are targeting. Okay. So once you have identified the actual credit cards that could approve you, let's say you've talked to your bank, you've talked to your credit unions, they are willing to work with you. Okay, you have given them all the assurances that everything is fine, that you have a legit business, all that kind of stuff. You need to know the requirements of the business credit card. So when we talk about business credit cards for a new LLC, actually the requirements are not that different from other business credit cards. Okay, so they want to see they want to have your business's legal name, your LLC's legal name, right? The contact information for your LLC. And they want to have a clear idea of what industry you're in, because some industries are not eligible for it's like you really want to make sure the bank is comfortable doing business with your type of industry. I don't know what kind of industry you're in, but listen, you know that some industries are just not, I would say, not appropriate for certain banks. Okay, you want to mention your business entity or legal structure. So we have the LLC. That's important. Whether you're a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC, okay? And you want to mention the time in business, a number of employees. Obviously, if you're new, you probably have less than 3 months or 6 months in business. Your federal tax ID, we're speaking about your EIN, very important. You got to talk about your annual business revenue and estimated monthly spend. Of course, here we are speaking about projected data, okay? What's your total annual income on a projected basis? Very important. Okay, your legal name. So here I'm talking about the individuals behind the company, behind the LLC. So the legal name, the contact information, and the social security number. Okay, and in some cases they might ask for your personal credit, but if you do things correctly, they will not ask you for your personal credit. They will not ask you to provide a PG, to provide personal guarantee, because the whole idea is to get this business credit card using EIN only and no income. Okay, so know the requirements of the particular card that you are going after. The thing is that those requirements are different. It depends on the bank. It depends on the credit union. It depends it really depends on the bank or credit union. This is why you want to have a conversation with the bank or credit union thoroughly, so you understand their requirements. And last but not the least, I want to talk to you about the business plan. Oh yeah, boss, I'm telling you. You know, the funny thing is, and this I've said this before. You know, it's kind of funny. People ask us, "How are you talking to me about business credit and you are speaking about business plan?" This makes no sense. No, boss, it does make sense. Because you know what? There's a strong correlation between a business plan and a business credit card or business loan. Because the credit card issuer wants to have a window into your business, want to understand the ins and outs of your business. That's what it is. Okay. And especially if you're a new LLC business and you are trying to get a business credit card using EIN only with no income, you better provide more transparency into your affairs, into your corporate affairs, into your business's affairs, okay? And you do that through a business plan, okay? And again, as I've said before, you don't have to have a PhD in writing business plans. If you have no talent in writing this kind of literature, that's fine. You want to outsource the whole thing, okay? So business plans are good because it provides a detailed pieces of information about your LLC, things like market analysis, competitive analysis, customer segmentation, marketing, logistics, and operations plans, cash flow projection, okay, and an overall path to long-term growth, which you need anyway, so you don't file bankruptcy after 6 months, after one year, right? And there are a lot of reasons why you need a business plan. I mean, a lot of reasons. And the thing is, and you don't create a business plan just to get an EIN only, business credit card with no income. No, a business plan helps you with critical decisions. Okay, you can manage your business finances. You are able to understand exactly what's going on at the business level from a financial perspective. You can iron out whatever kinks are in the business. You can avoid the big mistakes. Okay, you can prove the viability of your business to the credit card issuer. You can set better objectives and benchmarks. This is really important. You can communicate objectives and benchmarks also. You can provide a guide for service providers. You can secure financing. Okay. You can better understand the broader landscape. When we talk about the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, those are important things. And last but not the least, you want to reduce risk. Okay. So I'm just giving you an idea, a bird's eye view of why you need a business plan. But at the end of the day, you need to prepare a solid, compelling business plan. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it today. Today I was just talking to you about new LLC business credit card using EIN only with no income, how to get a high limit, okay? So the steps were budgeting, very important, spending model, projections, cash, identifying the right credit cards, the requirements, and the business plan. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.